North London derby this weekend, Tottenham versus Arsenal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Here's your combined 11 video. I'm joined by an Arsenal fan, and this is going to be interesting. Let's just say I'm joined by the wonderful Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
You know what? Yesterday I wasn't feeling great, but today I'm so up for this North London derby. Bring it on.
How'd you get on against Wolves? I didn't see the score.
Don't talk about that. One in a lifetime performance, that is. We'll never see that again.
Well, A, at least you didn't lose, and B, you're right. We're here just to talk about the North London derby.
Exactly.
We'll not have to go. I've got nothing to shout about really after my club and Tottenham this season. Let me just tell you that. For anyone that's new to how these work, so we both do two separate combined 11s. So we both have been tasked by myself actually to put together two combined 11s. One of them being as relevant to now, so it cannot include any players that are unavailable. So that, of course, massively shrinks what we can choose. And then one which is ideal, especially at the start of the season when everyone is available. So that can be included everybody. I think both in agreement that our teams compared to now, where both teams are missing players, is a lot different when everybody is available, those tools to play with. So let's get straight into it. Matt, I'm going to start with you, your team that is just including those fit players. So for people listening on audio podcast platforms, if you can read it out 1 to 11 and then go back to the goalkeeper and talk about your decisions.
Yeah, so we've got David Raya in goal, Urian Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori in defence. And then this is where it gets a little bit interesting because I originally had... I had Eze, Rice, and Zubamendi, but Arteta recently, in the last couple of hours, has said that Kai and Odegaard are a big possibility to be available for the game. So if Kai was available, he would start ahead of Eze, and it will still be the same midfield of Rice and Zubamendi. And then in attack, Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard kind of picks itself, to be honest. But yeah.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Just to repeat, the Matt's team, it is all Arsenal. It's Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Eze, Rice, Zubamendi, and then Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard in there. Can I ask you, Matt, who was close to getting in there? Of course, I'm thinking from a Tottenham point of view, especially. I know that there's players out for Tottenham, like for example in midfield, a lot of players out there. Was there any Tottenham players that were close to getting in there to stop it being all 11 Arsenal?
I think... difficult, I think maybe the closest one was probably the attacking midfield role. That was probably the closest one with Xavi Simons. Right. But I just think it's a North London derby, and the player who turned up and surprised everyone is the player that I've picked, which is Eze Overs Xavi.
Okay. And the only other thing I would say is I really like of course, putting bias aside, Arsenal centre-backs, your defence is superb. We know that. And I know you get mocked for set-piece FC, but there is more to your game. And either way, they're both key defensively, even from set-pieces offensively as well. But Van der Ven, I think, has had a fantastic season for Tottenham. How close was he to getting in there? And did you even consider maybe changing the formation to get all three in?
I think Van der Ven was a very, very good option. But I just look at Gabriel, and he's been our best centre-back. He's probably been the best Premier League centre-back. And you could argue he's been the best centre-back in Europe in terms of his both in the box situations, whether that's defending, 1v1s, winning headers, winning duels, or whether that's scoring goals. And as an overall centre-back, I just think Gabriel was the clear choice. But if we're talking, in attacking sense, Van der Ven was definitely very, very close.
Okay, Matt, thank you. All 11 Arsenal players. You haven't seen my teams. I've seen yours, of course, putting them together. You have not.
He's going to put Byfield in.
Well, I'm not going that far.
He's got not many options.
Let me just say there is Spurs players in there. Right. Here's my just fit. Matt, you put me on a mission when you sent me over your teams. I was like, oh, where's the Spurs players? But here's mine firstly, of just fit. So Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Van der Ven and Spence at the back, Paulinho, Rice and Zubamendi in midfield, and Saka, Gyökeres and Trossard up top. So in terms of Spurs representation, I believe there's just the three in there. If say just three, it's more than you put in Spence, Van der Ven and Polinia. So yeah, I'm going to talk through my thinking. Listen, I like Vicario to an extent. I think we can and should do better in the summer. But for me, David Raya, he's just at another level. We chose a cheap option and we ultimately pay the price for that now in terms of league position and also amount of goals we concede. And so many times you had Raya in goal, Tottenham concede less goals. I think that's just a matter of fact. Timber, a right back, I think he's fantastic. Probably one of the best, if not the best right back in Europe right now. He's got to be right up there with the likes of Reece James. Spence, I've gone with at left back. I like Calafiori. I really do. Again, for me, it was really 50-50. I think it was a really tough one to call. Spence, I really like his versatility. And Calafiori is a great player, so that was really tricky. I have left Gabriel out, and I showed my brother this team, and even as a Spurs fan, he wasn't happy by this. And I know that Gabriel brings more of a threat. So, Roger read that. He brings more of threat to set pieces than Saliba does. But in reality, for me, Van der Ven had to get in there. I think he's been one of Tottenham's best players. He's been fantastic. His pace as well. Scored so many goals. Scored more goals than all our attackers combined as well, just for context, any non-Spurs fans listening. So Van der Ven stepped up where others have not. He's kept Frank in the job for so long. Him and Romero. Romero is unavailable, so can't be in this team. Would he be if he was? Again, that's a whole different conversation. You'll find out a little bit when we get into everyone's team. So yeah, I've broken up the Arsenal centre-back partnership to go Saliba and Van der Ven. Then that midfield, then Rice and Zubimendi. I mean, need I say anymore? Rice is fantastic. What a player! I actually think he's really good offensively as well. Yes, he's a great six. A lot of people are quick to say, but I also like him when he's in the box. Causes real problems. Really, really good. Zubimendi's fantastic. I think it's been one of the signings of the summer that it doesn't get talked about a lot. We all gloat about these players that have been signed, and in reality, I think people miss a trick and miss Zubimendi out of the conversation completely. I put Paulinho in there again, along with Van der Ven. They completely carried Tottenham really, and it's been a great loan signing that I think we should make permanent. But again, that's really tricky. In that third midfield spot, I think because of injuries to both teams, particularly Tottenham, was difficult to choose. But I put Paulinho in that. I can't disagree with your front line. Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard. I don't think he's perfect, if I'm honest, but I think Victor Gyökeres is improving. I think Saka's improving, new contract as well. And Trossard, I think most of the time is putting in good performances. And sometimes doesn't always have the end product, but when he does, it's really helpful and always comes at a good time. Like Martinelli, they always seem to impact the game at the right moment. So, Matt, anything you disagree with there? Of course, I've got 3 more Spurs players in your team.
Yes, a lot to disagree with. No, what I would do, I wouldn't be having Spence in there. I don't think he's done enough this season to warrant him starting at left back.
Fair enough.
If we're going to shoehorn Van der Ven in, I'd actually play him left back because I think in Arsenal's team, I actually think he would give Calafiori a run for his money. Because of what he offers in an attacking sense, but also the speed that he has in his recovery pace. Because you can't leave Gabriel out. I mean, he's been better than Saliba. He has, and it's just fact. Over the past, I'd say 18 to 24 months now, I think Gabriel's been the better centre back. I think in Saliba's, and in Saliba's first season at Arsenal, light years ahead of Gabriel, but very recently, Gabriel's just picked up his pace, and he's really proven to be.
Does Gabriel have a mistake in him, though? You're right that Saliba doesn't have not reaching the same heights, but I don't think Saliba's going to make a mistake. Whereas I watch Gabriel, I think you're fantastic. But even if we gave him, 10 situations, I think he's going to make a mistake one of those times. Where I think Saliba, you could give him 100 opportunities, he'd only make one mistake. That's all the only thing I would say from an outsider. I want to get your thoughts on that.
You know what? Like in the last 18 months, the only mistakes Gabriel has really made have been this season. The one as recent as Wolves, the one at Bournemouth. I believe that was very early into 2026. So he's not actually made that many mistakes, but it's mistakes that have costed us or have nearly costed us, and I think they stand out more. But Gabriel's been incredible this season. And I've got to say, the midfield is a disgrace. I'm sorry, the midfield is a disgrace. If you're going to put a Tottenham player in, you got to put Xavi Simons in. You can't have 3 quote unquote DMs. Like, come on, like you can't have
Paulinho. Trossard on the counter. Spence getting up. Saka counter-attacking team.
It's got to be either Zubimendi or Paulinho. It can't be both. You can't play both in.
He's very defensive, but I think Rice quite far forward. And as my theory, I was saying that Rice is actually really good offensively, and a lot of people just go, "Oh, he's only a 6." I'd completely disagree with that. So it wouldn't let me change these players, unfortunately. But I would have Paulinho and Zubimendi sit in, and then I'd have Rice just in front.
I think Rice in the 8 is he's what I would call an elite all-rounder midfielder.
Oh, he has
He's
everything.
not. He's not like elite. He's not elite at one thing. He's elite at all parts of a midfield. But if we're talking attacking midfield, yeah, I don't know if Rice can do that. I don't know if you can trust him to do that because you're talking
maybe,
obviously
well, you can have
through
1-6
balls
then,
and it's something that's
Paulinho,
not his
2-8.
game.
True. I think they can all, be versatile. I think Paulinho is probably the only one that's limited to a 6.
Yeah.
But Zubimendi, I think, again, flexible. Rice, I think, is flexible. I'm
Zubimendi and Rice can sort of interchange with each other.
Yeah, I see Rice as box to box number 8. That's where I personally see it.
I agree
in this team. So hey ho, I get the borderline the same. So I could have put more Spurs players in there. I might have my second team. You never know. I won't reveal anything. But there we go.
The front three,
yeah,
I think kind of picks itself. I think you've got to go with Gyökeres because if you're going with any striker of Spurs, Solanke would be the one, but he's been relatively injured for the whole season.
Like he's gonna be out as well. He's gonna be out from North London Derby, which you mean you're
is he?
Yeah, and that
do you know what he do?
Because I don't know, something with his throat, which will make you laugh. I don't know what's going on.
Come on, now come on. These players, right? The amount of money they're on, right? These players, if they get a sore throat, what? They're out of a North London derby.
So do you know
if Saka, right? Genuinely, if Saka was sick on the morning of the North London derby, he's playing because he will want to play. Arteta will play him. Come on, man. Solanke, really? A quote unquote throat injury? Nah, I'm not having that.
No, I'm not. I need to find what Tudor said. I think he said that he's not going to make it. I'll just find the quote now.
And obviously the wingers. Look, Saka. I'm probably one of the biggest Saka fans in the Arsenal community. But even I can admit that this season he's been poor. He's been poor, and he has been suffering with a few injuries. But in general, this season he has been pretty poor. That goal that he scored against Wolves was quite of a unique goal because he was in an attacking midfield role, which is something I didn't know he had in his locker. And it was a position where he was in the box where you would expect Gyökeres to be. And Saka was in there and he heads it through the keeper's legs, which was a great finish. And then Trossard, I actually think Trossard is one of the most underrated players over the past 5 years in the Premier League because no one really speaks about this guy like, your Dokus and, your Sakas, your Fodens, your Palmers. No one really speaks about him like that because he's a player that you don't see very often. But if you look at the Arsenal scoreline, 9 times out of 10, he's either got a goal or he's got an assist. And the stats throughout his Arsenal career prove that. Like I think he's already surpassed 50 goals and assists, and he's been here for 3 seasons. And I think for 50% of that time, he's mainly been a bench player or a rotation player. It's really only like the last 12 months you could probably say that he's been a certified starter. And I kind of prefer him off the bench because I think him starting, he doesn't get into games as quick as we'd hope him to be, but off the bench he's absolutely incredible, and he reminds me of Origi.
Impact, don't they?
He's literally the definition of a super sub. He's like Origi at Liverpool, literally like an impact player. And then Saka, I mean, look, he deserves to start and he deserves to be in this combined 11 because I think the season he's had doesn't reflect his stats, but he's got good stats nonetheless, regardless. But yeah, I mean, who else would you put in that right wing?
That's the thing.
He's
out as well. That's the problem. So,
he is ACL, isn't it?
Well, I'm worried for Tottenham because really, in terms of the only attackers you've got available, unless I'm missing someone, is at the moment Tala Moani, and Tudor will likely play with a 3-4-2-1. And I'm thinking, I mean, it could work. Don't get me wrong, they can make it work. Like, it'd be Tell and Simmons sitting behind Moani, but it feels like we're forcing things here, really, because
Yeah.
that was a completely different player to Simmons. But just to add on what I was saying, I've got it here. So he dodged the question about Solanke, but he did say that Solanke has a problem with his throat. He's only made 2 days of training. He's been out for a few days before that. And he was asked, okay, well, any players that are currently not available, will they be available for the game? He said, probably not. So there we go. So that includes Solanke. If not, he wouldn't answer the question. So we don't know.
It's not a great excuse from Solanke, regardless if you've got a throat problem, right? Unless you're struggling with breathing, of course, then fair enough. Don't play this game because player health over everything.
Of course, but still, I'll be looking around me. It's like a work.
But if we're talking a sore throat, come on, this is the North London derby.
Step up. It's a big day, work, your biggest, for the year. Come on, step to the table.
Yeah.
Others are not available around you. Come on, do your bit. Yeah, I don't think he's asking a lot. But hey ho. Matt, we'll get to your second team there with everyone available. You've made one change. Kai Havertz comes in for Eze. So yeah, again, talk us through that.
Yeah, literally. I was at Havertz's first start against Karat, and within 2 minutes, he and Gyökeres combined to score a goal, and I just knew from that their chemistry is going to really, really evolve, and I think that Havertz in the midfield, we are going to see quite a lot if he's fit, because Victor Gyökeres, people can slate him all you want, but he's a player that you have to play to his strengths. If you don't play to his strengths, you're not going to get the player that he is, and that does make him a limited striker. But what I think you can't take away from him is the fact he is an elite finisher. He is an elite finisher in front of goal. His stats prove it. Yes, he plays in a Farmers League, but you've still got to score the goals. And I'm very excited for this combination next season. When Kai is fully back, and hopefully Victor Gyökeres doesn't pick up an injury, because I think they are going to be very, very good together. With Eze, I think, look, he needs to step up. With Eze, I don't think Arteta wanted him. I think it was a club signing, and I think it was a club signing because we didn't want Tottenham to have a Hale End player that we released because we didn't think he was good enough to then be good enough. We wanted him, but we didn't want to let Tottenham have him. And it's kind of backed that up with the fact that he's playing Saka in an attacking midfield role instead of Eze, because Saka's a right winger. Yes, we've got Noni, but Saka's our starting right winger, and the fact that he was playing in midfield told me a lot of things about how Arteta views Eze as a footballer at Arsenal, and I think that is essentially a squad player.
Agree with that. I mean, I think you could get a lot more out of him, but Eze's also got to step up completely. But yeah, just to recap for Matt's team. So now we're moving on to both Matt and mine, which might be in a minute. Team if everyone was available. So even if everyone's available, Matt would only make one change, have that instead of Eze. So just to recap, right, he'd go with Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori at the back. So Calafiori being the left back, Timber being the right back, Saliba and Gabriel being the centre back. It goes without saying that Raya is the goalkeeper. Then the midfield three of Zubimendi, Rice, and Havertz. The front three of Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard. Trossard left wing, Saka right wing, Gyökeres as the 9. There we go then. So all that's left then is to do my team with everyone available, and Matt is waiting for this one again. He has no idea. Let me read it out firstly. It's a bit, I think, fairer. So let me read it out his face. So Raya in goal. I've gone with Timber right back, Udogie left back, Van der Ven and Saliba as the centre backs, Kulusevski, Rice, and Zubimendi in midfield. Saka, Gyökeres, and Xavi Simons are fitted in on the left-hand side. So again, in terms of Tottenham players, I think we've got one more in here. So 4 Tottenham players, 6 Arsenal. So Arsenal's still having more players, because I acknowledge Arsenal, a lot better players, a lot better position at the moment. Everything is rosy. I absolutely know that. And reality is, the only reason we have a chance this game is because in 90 minutes. So often, North London derby goes out the window. New manager, Igor Tudor, brings a lot of unknown. So talk you through my changes in this one. So Doggy comes back in. He's currently injured for Jed Spence. The Doggy has been injured 3 times this season. He was injured 4 times the season before. So in terms of going forward with injuries, it's hugely concerning. I think I like him, but we might have to go, look, we need you to have surgery and sort something out or do something different, or you need to go, because you can't be having a player that's your first choice left back and being out this much. But the reality is he's another level to Spence. Spence is great. He's versatile, works hard. The Doggy's got a lot more what I'd call natural quality. Kulusevski for me is Tottenham's best player when he's fit, and we've got two or three really good players. Kulusevski for me is the best in terms of he can produce the same level of performance in a 10 as he can at right wing. And big games where he steps up. When he went to City, he gets a brace. If he plays City at home, he gets a brace. Big games, Man United as well, got 2 goals and an assist. So he steps up at these bigger games. And the problem is as well that he gets injured at least for half a season every season. Again, that's just not sustainable. So for Tottenham and their play, they need to sort this out. But I think when he's playing, I really like him, and I think he's just a little bit more consistent than, for example, an Eze. But I think again, Eze, we talk about ceiling, definitely higher. I keep Saka at right wing, really like him. Kudos for me. I like him in terms of what he can produce on a one-off occasion. Saka is that a little bit more consistent. Bigger Gokares up top. Again, I think talk about ceiling, higher than Solanke, higher than Moani, no doubt. So I'm confident that Gokares will only improve over time. This is probably cheating the code a little bit, let's just say, with Simmons on the left-hand side. He does play there, can play there. A lot better, though, in the 10. But I would play him there. I think you just need that flair player. I look at that third player being Xavi Simmons. I think both clubs aren't perfect in that position. Tottenham, I think, really lacking depth in that position, really lacking quality in that position. Trossard Martinelli was tough. I think it would have been a really tough call to split between the two. I like them both. Again, consistently making an impact off the bench, but not when they start, whereas Simmons is starting to play better right now. If we go back 3 weeks ago, Simmons isn't in this team. So, Matt, on my changes that I've made for the team before, I think the changes are, if I'm not mistaken, a Doggy, Kulusevski. I don't think Simmons was in the other team, was he? So there goes Simmons as well. So yeah, what do you think of those 3 changes I made? 3 Spurs players coming in.
I think it's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, Tottenham are 16th. Arsenal are top of the league by 5 points.
Yes, it should change. We had these players. So what I'm saying, like we had a Doggy and Kulusevski.
No, but look, the only player that I think gets into my team is Kulusevski.
Right.
Personally, he's probably the only player that I would take.
I'm not sure about Calafiori. I think he's a good player, but
Calafiori, it's again, he's
mistaken him.
He's got his injury problems.
Yes, that's a concern.
When he plays, he is incredible, and he's given Cucurella a run for his money to being the best left back in the league this season.
Do you know what?
I don't want to hear Nico O'Reilly because
I know.
this guy's done well.
Lewis Holden is fit. He's my favourite left back, but he's not often fit. It's a problem. But there's some good ones out there. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But that is my team. So, hey ho. It's 6 Arsenal players, 4 Tottenham players. Again, Arsenal better, 11, better depth. I know they're in a lot better place. So I'm not crazy about that. But in reality, right now, Arsenal levels above. I'd like to see where we'd be with all the players back. It's not an excuse. It's just that we should be acted in January. But Matt, that wraps up in terms of the combined 11s. Can I get your thoughts and score prediction before we end North London Derby on Sunday?
I think it's going to be... I don't think we're going to batter you. I think I probably feel different if we beat Wolves because of the momentum that we'll have. But that game felt like a loss. So it's sort of like a reset, just try and beat Tottenham, really. And I think we're going to have a lot more of the ball because you don't have many players that are good on the ball, available. You've got players that like to tackle. You've got players that like to be out of possession, like Joao Palhinha. I don't even think Bentancur's available, actually.
No.
You've got, your best attack is your defence. Well, not in that way, but scoring goals wise, it is literally your best attack. And I think it's going to be a fairly decent scoring game. And I'm going with 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal. I'm a bit more
I think we're going to respond.
Yeah, a lot of Spurs fans will be very quick to go new manager and they look excited. Let's be positive and say we'll win, but being realistic, I think a draw. I think for Arsenal, it can't be a defeat after what we saw against Wolves for Arteta. It can't be that case. And after Arsenal just dropping 2 points against Wolves, just for context, Arteta out is the second biggest trending hashtag on X, even after the game of 24 hours plus after. So just to give people an idea of how much that meant in terms of, we know Wolves were down the dumps this year. But no, I'm going 1-1. I take a draw. Of course, in the situation we're in, we've got to win. It's one of those that for both teams, a draw really doesn't help, particularly Arsenal. But so it's going to be incredibly difficult. But a lot of unknown. But Matt, would you say that after that Wolves game, of course it's frustrating you any other way, look, you want to change it, right? But do you think that could spur the players on, make them angry and want to put it right? Or do you think that demotivates them knowing that they couldn't get past Wolves, even though they were expected to?
I think what we've done is we've essentially given the Tottenham fan base and their players and the manager a reason to be fired up, because had we beat Wolves, yes, it's a North London derby, yes, you're hosting it, but it will probably just be the same feeling that Tottenham fans have had in that well, we're probably just going to get beat because, you know, Arsenal are top of the league, you know, they're cruising. But we've given that edge to Tottenham in terms of there's something to be fired up about. In terms of my players and team, I think there is going to be a massive response. I think when you've got players like Saka who know what this derby means, you know, we've got players like Miles Lewis-Skelly who we saw in the last, not last one, the Emirates one last season, where no one, you know, thought he would ever play like he did, and sort of not be that captain, but have that leadership at such a young age. Like, he was rallying up the crowd, he was smashing into tackles. That was, you know, him as a kid. But I think I just don't see Tottenham being able to withstand the technical players that we have, like with Zubamendi and potentially Eze or Kai Havertz in midfield. I just can't see you like winning that battle because
I
we've got
agree.
too
I think
many
there's
technical
the
footballers.
quality. And also, as the game goes on as well, you could potentially have players for the bench that could impact.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Really
our
significant
bench will
there.
be quite stacked
Because I don't
because
think we
I
name a full
believe
bench. I don't think we name a
the
full
only
bench.
player that would be injured is Mikel Merino. I think you're lagging
That's
a
a
bit.
miss, though. I mean,
No, you're
that's
fine.
a
You're fine.
miss. Huge miss. Yeah. So still, you've got players out. And again, for Tottenham, it is no excuse. It's on the board for me. It's on the owners. I think we bring the fight, like I said there. But how long?
No,
can
I
you
am quite
Could be
confused.
if we score first, then that's from Arsenal's point of view. I think you've got to get through 25 minutes, half an hour of not conceding. Right? Of course, you want to be ahead in the game. If you're 1 or 2 goals, I don't see it. Let's be realistic and just 1 goal behind early on. The crowd have had nothing to get behind, really, if we're honest, this year. Very little, nothing at home for sure. Then fans will be energised because not only is it North London derby, it's a new manager. It's like a new kind of life, and we're fighting down the bottom. And just also, we're awful at home, never win at home. Haven't won a Premier League game in 2026. So there's a lot of I just think something will be unleashed, if we score. So that could make it really tricky for Arsenal, especially if we sit on
I
it as
do
well.
think that this game is make or break for Tottenham in terms of if they stay up or not in the Premier League, because I think if you guys win, then it's staying up. And if you lose, I do genuinely fear for the worst for Tottenham, because if you lose this, I think it's going to be a chain reaction. I think this is the game for Tottenham to, if they're ever going to, respond to this like awful wave of results that you've had.
I completely agree with you, Matt. Thank you very much for your time. Where can people follow you on social media?
My handle here on Twitter.
Lovely stuff. Thank you. So that's AFC Matt XX. Thank you very, very much. And people know who I am. I'm Harry Scarfe. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the North London derby, Matt. Hope you won't mind me saying, come on, you Spurs.